Hi, my love. I know that you've been wanting to hear a story from me, bedtime story to be exact. So I thought I'd give you a little special day where I read you some. Is that okay? I'm so glad. Okay, the first story is called The Mountain. My mother said that out of all 5 of her children, I was the easiest baby. I think what she meant was that I hardly cried, rarely fussed, and was generally asleep, which I guess was a good thing for her. As a 4th of 5, she had a lot to deal with before she got to me, so I made it easier for her. I kept doing it as I grew up. If one of my siblings dropped their ice cream, I'd give them mine so they'd stop making a scene. When someone had to sit in a middle seat, you can bet that's where my seat would be strapped. In 5th grade, when Clara Gomez stole my cookie from my lunchbox, I just shrugged and ate my carrot sticks. My nickname was Montania, Little Mountain, because I was never moved, never bothered, always calm. In 7th grade, I broke my leg, but I didn't tell anyone for 3 days. I just gritted my teeth and hopped along until my father found me crying on the bathroom floor. He took me to the hospital and bought me a cast we couldn't afford. And when the kids at school called me a cripple, well, you can guess what I did. In high school, my little sister, Sophia, was getting picked on by some boys. I pretended I didn't see it happen, but that night, I switched out her too small uniform skirt for mine. She stopped getting teased, and I wore pants for the rest of the year. When my college algebra professor lost my test and made me retake it, I just nodded and did it. When I got catcalled walking across campus, I just looked down at the ground. And you, the first day you came up to me and offered to buy me coffee, I was sure you were trying to make fun of me too, so I stayed quiet. Eventually, you flashed me that blinding smile and told me, guess I'll take that as a yes then. I think I said about 3 words to you that first day, but I gave you my number and answered when you called. That was cute. Don't you think so? Of course you do. Alright. The second story is I Can't Believe You're Mine. It was a glorious, colorful autumn. We had just left the coffee shop. When we walked by, she had giggled and pulled me inside, saying, "Come on, let's be basic girls and get some pumpkin spice." I don't like coffee. I never had. But when she handed me my cup, looked into my eyes while I tried it, it was the best thing I'd ever tasted. My hand still tingled where she grabbed it. As we walked through the park with our drinks, a light drizzle began to fall. She pulled out an umbrella from her bag. I pulled up my hood and hunched my shoulders. "Don't be shy," she giggled, pulling me under the umbrella with her. I couldn't help but laugh too. Her laugh was infectious. As the sun started to shine down again, she pulled me down to sit on a bench. She beamed down at me, and I could only gaze back adoringly. "So, Ava, she began. I knew this tone of voice. It's dangerous. Who do you like? She whispered. I looked away. I wanted to say, you. You 1,000 times, you. You're the only one I can ever think about. You're gorgeous, sweet, and funny. Instead, I shrugged my shoulders and looked down at my cup. She looked at me with a cautious smile. If I tell you mine, will you tell me yours? Okay, I said. The person I like is you. I dropped my drink. That was also cute. Alright. The next story is My First Love. This is a story about the first year of my relationship with a girl I love. I suppose it starts back in July 2017. She was dating my best friend at the time. They were in a relationship for a few weeks, and it ended on bad terms. While they were only dating, I had only seen her one time. I didn't really say much to her, as I am very shy and socially awkward. I think I managed to get a few hellos out, but nothing more than that. The next time I met her was on 31st of October. To be honest, I don't really remember that night much since I was blackout for the majority of it. By that time, things seemed to be okay between her and my friend, and that's how I started talking to her more. In late November, we were all taking in group chats online. I am a lot less awkward and able to talk to other people, so this is a great way for me to start talking to her. As I started to become more friendly with her, I realized that she's not how my best friend made her out to be. We started to hang out more, and the more I spent time with her, the closer I felt to her. There are quite a few people in our friends group. I couldn't quite explain why, but I felt like I had some sort of bond with her. Like I could connect with her in a way that I couldn't with other people. Usually, I hate it when people hug me, but when she did it, it always felt warm and comforting. Where our relationship progressed was on New Year's Eve. I had one of my depressive episodes and ended up leaving all the group chats I was in. At the time, I just felt really, really lonely, as if I'm destined to never be happy. She ended up private messaging me, asking me what was wrong and why I was feeling like that. There's only a few people that know how much of a poop show my childhood was. I felt comfortable talking about it with her, and she seemed to have the perfect response to everything. After a while, I felt a little better about myself, and I will never forget some of the things she said to me that night. Next story is called This Girl. I thought I'd had crushes before. There was Carson, who smiled at me in bio. There was Avery with the big beautiful eyes. But this girl, God, it's like not even the same emotion. I really thought I liked the others. I did. I'd blush when they were nearby, sit up straighter, toss my hair, get nervous. But this girl takes butterflies to a whole new level. The next story is called the right moment. Her eyes, oh her eyes, they got me every time. They could never be classified as one color. They rebelled, taking on different hue every day, every hour, every moment. But they always sparkled with this emotion I could never place. His smile, oh his smile, it zapped my heart every time. His smile was never to be taken for granted. He rarely showed it around people, but when he did, oh it was magic. The slight dimple on his cheek revealed his boyish nature. But they always drifted from one another, the timing never right. One was in a relationship, the other fresh out of one, both single but not ready to mingle, or they would mingle with the wrong people. It was like this for years, until this. It was snowing. Her car was covered in the hardening white powder. She stared, hopeless. How could she get to work in this condition? A light flurry of snow falls from the sky, wetting her hood. She sighs, holding a hand out. A snowflake lands on her hand, almost immediately melting her warm palm. A smile tilts her lips. Her tardiness to the office momentarily taking a back seat. He watches her, unprotected hair catching snowflakes. He had come here to break up with his girlfriend, whose name he'd already forgotten. He didn't know she had lived so close to her. Annalise, the woman he could never have. At her surprise appearance, he dropped his keys. With his gaze still on her, he crouched down, fumbling in the cold snow for his car keys. But after stubbing his finger, he risks a glance down, swiping them up. Alright, it looks like it's time for you to go to sleep now. I hope you liked the stories, and I hope you feel comfortable enough